Hey guys, Jeff here with Passive Income Unlocked, and this is the No Stone Unturned case study update number 12. So if you want to follow along, head on over to passiveincomeunlocked.com. I will also put a link in the description below. So update number 12 means that we are a full year in this case study site. Obviously, I've mentioned this before, our hope at this point was to be monetized with Mediavine. That'd be 50,000 sessions per month. We are nowhere close to that. If you look back just a couple of videos, you will see that we were probably on track to get there. We had hit 20,000 sessions or page views per month, trending up very, very quickly. I think we would have probably gotten there by now had the helpful content update not been released. But that's what happened, and we have to move on from here. So as far as updates, let's talk about updates just like every other video, it seems, recently. Google did release another update in October. So the update in October was the spam update. So when this update came out, I went to the spam guidelines that Google provides, because they do provide a page that kind of goes over everything that they are looking for with this particular type of update. And the spam update is basically looking for sites that violate their spam policies. And when you look through that, any legitimate site should be okay. I wasn't really too worried about this one. We don't really do any of the things that they mention in that particular or on that guideline page. So I wasn't really too worried about it with any of our sites. However, after this update was rolled out, had completed rolling out, I did hear that a lot of people were hit. Some people were hit pretty hard by this update. But one thing that I noticed was that it was mostly newer sites. So in our case, in particular, we have 2 newer sites, 4 older sites. Our 2 newer sites were hit, dropped roughly, we'll say 10%, kind of hard to tell. With this site in particular, I say 10%, it might be more like 5%. It's kind of hard to tell because the traffic from day to day is all over the place. When you're in this traffic range, it kind of fluctuates quite a bit. Whereas with a site that gets a lot of traffic, it's a little bit more consistent day to day. But anyways, we'll just call it 10%, 5 to 10%. Excuse me. Then on our 4 oldest sites, those actually all went up by about 5 to 10%. But I heard from other big publishers as well, where they have several sites, their older sites were untouched by this update, where their newer ones were hit. Some of them were hit by even 20, 25%. And there were other people that have just a couple sites where maybe their one site that they've been growing for a few years was untouched, and then their newer site was hit. And in some cases, they were almost completely wiped out. So basically what that tells me, just from what I've heard again, and I've not researched this or anything, but it kind of tells me that Google is looking at newer sites under a lens. And this might be related to the fact that there's just a lot of people publishing sites now. Obviously, blogging's been around for years, but it does seem like there's been an increase of content sites being built as of late, whether it's people like us that are building out sites, whether you're outsourcing, writing the content, and then, of course, you have people that are generating AI content, producing tons and tons of pages overnight. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it, but there's a lot of sites being built, basically, and Google has to somehow manage that. So that's obviously going to be very challenging for them, and that might be part of why they're looking at newer sites a little bit more carefully than they have in the past, if that's what they're doing. So I'm not going to try to speculate on what factors they're looking for, but obviously they're seeing some things with this site and our other newer sites, so site number 5 and all these other sites I just mentioned that are kind of newer sites. They're seeing some things on those sites that they don't like, whether it's not enough backlinks or the age of the site, or probably a combination of about 100 factors, right? So anyways, I did kind of spend some time just looking in Search Console just to see what did our traffic, or clicks and impressions, I should say, and rankings look like on this particular site before the helpful content update, and then recently, so the last 7 days, so right up until I shot this video. So I was actually pretty surprised by what I found. I was kind of expecting to see some big drops, but I didn't really see that. So for the most part, what I saw was when I looked at the keywords that were bringing in the most traffic, so most impressions, most traffic, prior to the helpful content update, and then I looked at those same keywords in the last 7 days, I was only really seeing drops from about maybe position 1 or 2 down to position 2 to 3 or 4. That was really about it. The site was not hit that hard when you look at Search Console anyways. The problem, of course, is it was hit like that across many, many pages. So if it was just like that on a couple of posts, it wouldn't be a big deal, but when you do that across an entire site, you lose half your traffic, just like we saw. So what that's basically telling us is that if you want to get all the traffic, you need to be in the #1 spot, but of course we already knew that. What we don't like to see though, or what we're not liking that we are seeing, is where the traffic is trending. So I'm going to jump into that in a minute. Before I do that, I'll bring up one screenshot that shows the number of posts that we've published. So as you can see, we published about 30 posts in October. We're actually publishing 1 post per day now. I don't know how long we're going to keep doing that. If the traffic keeps trending the way that it is, that I'm going to show you in a minute here, we're probably going to scale that back for a little bit. We are not going to give up on the site. I do believe that if we keep doing what we're doing, we will bounce back with a future update. And the reason I say that is because we are building this site the same way that we build all of our other sites. In many ways, we are building, or we're doing actually a better job on this site. Better job of internal linking, better job of linking out to resources, and so on, covering topics more thoroughly, obviously. Basically, the goal with this site was to create a comprehensive resource for our visitors, basically trying to build a very helpful site. We don't feel like we're doing anything majorly wrong. That should be an issue with Google, so I do think it will bounce back in the future, so we aren't going to make any changes. But with that being said, you're only going to put so much money into something if it's not producing results. So if we're not seeing any kind of increase in traffic over the next few months, we will start to scale back on that and then go from there. All right, so I'm going to bring up a couple screenshots next of our traffic, as I mentioned. So the first one is from Search Console. These are lifetime screenshots, so the whole first year here of the site. As you can see in Search Console, everything was trending nicely, going up and up and up. And then we got hit by the helpful content update, and then towards the end there, you'll see that we were hit by the spam update. Again, it's really hard to tell when you watch the traffic day to day. It fluctuates so much. I don't think you're really seeing the true picture here, but what you can see overall is that you're trending sideways. So next screenshot here is Google Analytics. And this will probably be a clearer picture. This is more what I like to look at, just kind of looking at overall month to month. And as you can see, we worked our way up to 20,000 page views in August, dropped down to September, 12,000 page views, and then again flat in October, so 12,000 page views again. So that's where we were at last month. And as of right now, we're not seeing any signs of growth on the site, so we are just trending sideways. So obviously that's not something we want to see, but that's something that's pretty common when you get hit with an update where your growth kind of just stunts and just kind of goes sideways from there until another update comes out, and we'll see what happens there. So guys, I've been posting these videos once a month. That was my plan up to the 1 year mark, which is where we're at today. I'm going to scale that back now. Haven't decided how far yet, but this is a long-term case study. This is not a 1 year case study. Obviously, we are publishing a lot of content targeting higher competition keywords. So this case study needs to keep going on forward into at least the 2 year mark. So I'm either going to scale this back to quarterly updates, or I might just post updates when something changes on the site. So maybe an update comes out, maybe our traffic starts going up just naturally, maybe it starts going down, who knows. But I'm not going to post an update if it just keeps going sideways. And I'm not going to just keep posting monthly updates like I have been, because that's probably a little bit too frequent for going into year number 2. So if you do want an update on the site, just post a comment on this video and I will let you know. And guys, if you were hit by any of these recent updates from Google, just hang in there. There's a lot of cases out there, people reporting where they get hit by an update. They feel like their content's good, their sites are good. They decide not to change anything, and their site bounces back with a future update. I do encourage you to analyze your site, though. If you do see some things that you might be doing that could be improved, I would definitely try to improve those things. But if you think you're building a legitimate site that's solid in your eyes, I probably wouldn't make too many changes. At least wait for the next core update to come out and then go from there. So guys, appreciate you watching as always, and I will see you in the next one.